Alright, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is King of Cards Tarot Readings. I'm so glad you could make it. So, we have general collective reading here. And, yeah, it's a really good one. I'm feeling good things about this. For our main issue card, we have Four of Wands in reverse. So, let's see here. Four of Wands, interesting card. The fours all represent a stabilization of the element. And so we have fire in its most stable element, or its most stable configuration, or the most stable step in its manifestation. So the four wands here are organized as the hubs of a wheel. And so they cross in the middle, pointing in 8 directions. And so basically, this card points at like a work in process, or because this is action. Fire is action. So this is action that is directed towards stabilization. So the state of stability, but more so to be seen the ongoing act of stabilization. So the idea is that completion is really about working with something that wants to put itself into chaos and disorder. So that could be like a yard, or a cloud, or some natural chaotic space, event, force, being in your life. My beautiful collective. See, I forget that I gotta talk like that. I should probably talk louder too. I know I'm pretty quiet. So let's see here. So main issue, completion. The action that it takes to stabilize whatever is being worked with. So think about this like the potter's wheel, spinning, but spinning in a controlled way so as to create a type of stillness. A stillness that allows work to be done. Yeah. So this is in reverse. So this is giving me like, watch for the force that stabilizes you. We'll have to get into the other cards first, but I'm just getting this watch for. So I'm getting sort of you are needing that force that stabilizes you, and somewhere it's not quite meeting your need. We'll get deeper into that. Okay, so on my right hand side here, which I like to see as my future or my positive reading, of the main issue, or like, sorry, the influence that is aiding the main issue. And we have the Knight of Discs. Notice he holds his shield. This card represents the fiery part of Earth, which again echoes the main issue, which is fire in its most Earth-like configuration, its most stable state, which is at 4. So the Knight here is an Earth spirit, is an Earth energy, but is acting through this form of active non-action. He's on the horse. He's in his armor, holding his weapon and holding his shield. And he's looking away from home, hoping he can just return. But he's prepared for engagement. So, collective, I'm seeing this force that you're needing. It's not neglecting you. It's actually, it's working in your favor by working at a distance. So in a sense, it's got its back turned to you because it knows how secure you already are. And so it's saying, look, maybe I can't be there spinning the wheel right now, but if I was there spinning the wheel, I couldn't be here protecting the perimeter. And so I do think that force is on its way back. It will return to you to stabilize you. And if it doesn't, that means something else is on the way, coming for you. So then on the left here, which I would view as the influence working against the main issue, or experience of the past for this main issue, or the negative reading of this main issue. We have the 7 of Discs in reverse. And this card is called Failure. The 7 of any element represents essentially a descent into disorder, a fall from the stabilized state. You know, we've just talked about the 4 for the central, so that's the stability, and then 5 becomes sort of a discord. It's a further development on top of the stability, but it's a break from stable in pursuit of the 6. And then the 6 is really the perfected state. Whether it's more or less stable than the 4 isn't really the issue. It's what the 4 is there for, in a sense. But the 7, it's like, oh no, you've gone too far. Why did you go past the 6? Now, you know, if we don't move back towards that 4, that stability, we're just falling towards 10. So, failure here is an interesting card. It's sort of like, have you ever sat on something that you shouldn't have sat on because it couldn't support your weight, and like forever after that thing is now like cracked or broken, that's failure. Not on your part, but on the part of the thing, the object. Like it took too much and now it's it bears that mark, that crack. Its weakness has been exposed. And so to me, what I'm getting is that in your past collective, you've experienced taking on too much and being overwhelmed by the forces being placed upon you, which is part of why this completion card is in its ill dignified state. It's like this memory and this fear of past failure, of being broken, where you say, no, I know that I can break. I'm afraid to even take the weight that I used to hold because I don't know if I'm even strong enough to maintain that level. So, yeah, what I'm getting from the relationship between these three is you're feeling like you want to serve your function. It's not the work that scares you. It's the fear of not being enough. The fear that by allowing the load to be placed on you, you'll actually break more than you already are broken. And so you want that stabilizing force to ensure that you can do the work you're trying to do, because you do want to do the work. That's the desire, is to get to the place where the work can be done. But the stabilizing force is not with you at the moment. It's out, sort of holding things down for you. So it feels like this is a time to let go of trying to do that work, not let go of the future hope of that, because I think, at least so far, it looks like this is something that still can be done, but now's not the time to do it. Now's the time to reflect on the conditions of that past failure and say, like, what was it that put that weight there? And how much was it over what it should have been? And then look forward to the future and say, like, how much stabilizing do I need to reach stability? And how much are the external threats needing to be protected against? Because what I'm getting from this is that there is some external threat that does need to be kept away from the work in order for the work to get done. But keeping the threat away isn't what gets the work done. But if the threat's not kept away, the work can't get done. But the failure's in the past and it's ill dignified. So, what I'm really getting about the failure is to see that it's not a failure, it's not an inability, it's really an over ask. too much was expected of the your ability to do the work, and that's not your fault. Like, whatever was being asked of you was was the problem. That's what I'm seeing. And it wasn't the stabilizing force that was asking that of you. In fact, that stabilizing force was asking this external threat not to ask so much of you. And that's what I'm seeing. There's someone who wants to protect you. There's someone who wants to see you succeed. And they want to keep away. Oh, this is bringing up so much for me. They want to keep away all of the external threats to your ability to function and carry the weight of your work that you love. So yeah, collective, I'm seeing that you got to take a little time. You got to focus on rebuilding, allow that protective force to do its work since it's not broken, but it sees that failure in the past as its failure because it wasn't able to keep this external threat from you. And so now it's both punishing itself but also making sure that it doesn't happen again. But at this point, it's actually too late. The damage has been done. And I do think it's a damage that can be healed from, but only time will tell how much healing can return strength or, surpass the previous strength. Okay, so for the deck top card, we have Death. Now, this is an interesting card to come in here. Uh, it's a hard one to read. I could take it a couple ways here. So, I'm going to try and paint it as a spectrum because I do think these deck top cards are meant to give a gradient wash to the spectrum of the three. So, yeah, initially, I think this card is representing the need to let go of that thing you wanted to accomplish. This past failure, yeah, fuck, has killed that initial goal. That thing you were setting out to do, it's been circumvented. This thing, this thing that happened, this break, it cut that off. That's not an option anymore. Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry. Yeah, trying to do that thing now, after the failure, is only going to set you back further. If you don't do the healing, you won't get the thing done. So, that's this first death. The first death is of that previous hope to accomplish this thing within the time frame. And I think your stabilizing force knows this, and that's why they've headed to the perimeter to try and make sure that your healing can take place. So, yeah, wow. And then, so second level of this deck top card is the warning, which is again saying, you know, you gotta be careful in this work you're trying to do because I do think that the stabilization needed to do the work isn't the goal. That's another thing I'm getting from it being completion in reverse. We're not looking just to do the work. We're not looking just to be able to do the work. All of that is really pointing towards the reason this stabilizing force is out there ready to fight for you. There's a bond there. This person who is fighting for you, they really care about you. And this could be a group of people, but if it's a group of people, I'm still getting there's one person in that group who knows that the group as a whole can't have your back the way they can as an individual. And yeah, I get that the collective has a range of relationships to this person. Some of us, this is a trusted confidant, a friend. For some of us, this is a lover, a partner. For some of us, it's a family member, maybe a sibling or a parent or a cousin or an aunt or an uncle. For some of us, this could be a coworker, a supervisor, a boss. But someone is fighting for you. Someone is trying to give you the space to do the healing you need so that you can get back to doing the work that you love. But yeah, this death is warning that, yeah, first stage, you gotta let go of what you thought things were gonna be and how quickly you thought things were gonna get done. Secondarily, as you heal and on your way to returning to the work that you want to do, you got to be careful for anything outside your circle because you don't need it. Anything outside your circle, superfluous. Not part of healing, not part of the work. So you don't need it. But then, third level is to see that this person who's fighting for you, they are directly putting themselves up against loss. Like they stand to lose any and everything that belongs to them in this work that they do for you. So, yeah. Again, I'll just jump back down a sec. The collective has a range of relationships to this person. Not only could it be is it a different person for a lot of us, but for some of us, this person, we don't like them. We don't want to be around them. We don't want them in our life. We might even think of them as the reason for the failure, which again, they feel because they feel like they weren't able to protect you before, and that's pushed them into this like hyper protective um, position. So, yeah, for some of us, we love and respect and absolutely admire and appreciate this person and what they're doing for us. And for some of us, we don't even realize how much this person cares about us. Some of it depends on our closeness to that person, but more so it has to do with how many people outside of your circle are actively communicating with you. Because the more people outside of your circle you talk to, the harder it is to see how much work those in your circle are doing for you. So I think that would be the final death relation to this card is that one of the healthiest things you can do right now is to let die or actively kill all of the relationships that exist outside of your circle. You don't need them. Trust me. If there's anything you can learn from coming to King of Cards tarot readings, it's fuck those people outside your circle. Swear to God, I don't even want to, but just like, look, I don't care if that person who's stabilizing you, if they've hurt your feelings, if they've said or done things that you feel are betrayal, unless you really think that that's the thing that broke you, in which case I don't think that person is actually the stabilizing force in your world. But for some of us, they could be dovetailed like that. But anything they've done, and I'm not saying put up with abuse, don't put up with abuse, but anything they've done, you're holding against them, it's actually a better thing for you than the kind words from people outside of your sphere. Because those kind words will bring you into contact with external forces who are not those people, who will not have kind words for you. And those kind words are breadcrumbs to a gingerbread house. And you don't want to go inside. You want to stay home. There's nothing you need that's not at home. If you have to go out, grocery, work, I can't think of a third thing. Don't leave home. There's no need. Right now, for a little while, collective, I'm saying at least until you listen to the next reading, you should stay in. You should focus on healing, and you should focus on readjusting your timetable. So, whatever it was you were working on that got broken off and is looking questionable, instead of trying to get right back into the flow, right now you got to take a break and you got to think about what's the new plan. So, yeah, thanks everybody. That was a really good reading for me. I learned a lot about what's going on for me as a part of this collective, and I hope that you learn a lot too. So, yeah, best of luck. I will have a new reading up for you tomorrow. Oh, yeah. If you didn't know, please like and subscribe. See you all soon.